Cleopatra VII Philopator, the last active pharaoh of ancient Egypt, continues to hold an almost mythical status. Her intelligence and captivating looks have been immortalized in stories and art for centuries. But is there more to Cleopatra than meets the eye? Historians offer a more well-rounded portrait, revealing a woman of sharp wit and cunning strategies who wasn't afraid to play the game of power. Today we'll peel back the layers of legend to explore the lesser-known actions and choices that shaped Cleopatra's life and reign. We'll delve into the complexities of her character and the tactics she used to navigate a cutthroat political landscape. Hollywood movies might have us picture Cleopatra as a stunning woman who charmed powerful men like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. But some historians, like Plutarch, weren't that impressed by her looks. They say her true power came from something else. Cleopatra wasn't just a pretty face, she had a captivating personality. It wasn't just beauty that turned heads, it was the way she carried herself. Historians describe it as irresistible. Here's the real kicker. Cleopatra was incredibly intelligent. Forget the stereotypical helpless damsel, this queen was a scholar. She studied math, medicine, economics, history and more. Plus, she could speak 9 languages. Cleopatra knew how to use her wit and charm to her advantage. She wasn't just beautiful, she was clever and knew how to hold a conversation. This irresistible combination helped her navigate the political world. Since her image was so important, Cleopatra likely took care of her appearance. After all, power wasn't just about brains, it was about presentation too. Cleopatra was a skilled leader too. Unlike her brothers, she managed her kingdom effectively, which boosted her popularity and helped solidify her image as a divine ruler. Cleopatra understood the power of public image. Maintaining a goddess-like appearance was crucial. Being an expert in alchemy, a precursor to chemistry, she even had her own perfume factory near the Dead Sea. Cleopatra believed her perfumes had a mind-altering effect, using them to influence others and get what she wanted. Now, about that youthful glow. Cleopatra wasn't about to let age slow her down. While first-century Egypt didn't have Botox or plastic surgery, being queen had its perks. Like many rulers, Cleopatra had a luxurious beauty routine most people could only dream of. Her most famous treatment? Legend has it, Cleopatra bathed in milk. But not just any milk. It supposedly came from a whopping 700 donkeys. While the number might be a bit exaggerated, donkey milk was actually considered a great anti-aging treatment back then. Cleopatra also bolstered her authority by being seen as the reincarnation of Isis, a major Egyptian goddess. As the alliance between Rome and Egypt grew stronger, Isis's influence spread far and wide. Being seen as this powerful goddess solidified Cleopatra's power. Being a living god wasn't new for Egyptian pharaohs, but Cleopatra took it a step further. She declared herself the new Isis, demanding her subjects worship her as the goddess on earth. Talk about expecting the royal treatment. This strategy actually worked, which is pretty surprising considering Cleopatra wasn't even Egyptian. Cleopatra belonged to the Ptolemaic dynasty, founded by a Greek general named Ptolemy I. These rulers were all Greek ancestry, language, and customs. They ruled Egypt for centuries after Alexander the Great's conquest. Becoming pharaoh wasn't easy for Cleopatra, especially as a woman. She might have even been the first Ptolemaic ruler to learn the Egyptian language, Coptic, along with languages of nearby regions. Taking on the role of Isis was a bold move, some might say arrogant, but it was also clever. It helped her gain acceptance from her Egyptian subjects. Unlike previous Ptolemies, who mostly ignored Egyptian culture and lived in the Greek city of Alexandria, Cleopatra actively embraced Egyptian traditions. However, claiming to be a goddess, even for someone as brilliant as Cleopatra, that might be a bit much. The Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt was known for keeping things in the family, but unlike their Egyptian predecessors, They weren't big on local customs. Marrying close relatives, however, seemed perfectly acceptable to them. Cleopatra's story begins at a young age, marked by both tragedy and an unusual opportunity. When her mother mysteriously died, her father, Ptolemy IV, made the bold decision to appoint his daughter as his co-ruler at just 14. This was a time when women were rarely seen in positions of power, and it gave Cleopatra valuable experience in governing alongside her father. However, upon Ptolemy XIV's death, things got complicated. The will declared Cleopatra co-ruler again, but this time with a rather unconventional partner, her 10-year-old brother, Ptolemy III. This arrangement, designed to maintain the Ptolemaic bloodline, directly challenged Cleopatra's burgeoning ambition. Cleopatra, however, had zero interest in sharing power with a child, especially not one who lacked the experience and qualifications to rule. In a bold move for the time, she defied tradition and refused to submit to her husband. She even took steps to erase Ptolemy III from the public eye, removing his name from official documents and ensuring only her face appeared on coins minted during their reign. This unprecedented power struggle sent a clear message. Cleopatra intended to be the sole ruler of Egypt. This defiance didn't go unnoticed. When Cleopatra sided with the Syrians against the Romans in a regional dispute, she inadvertently made a powerful enemy. Rome, with its vast influence, backed her young brother, forcing Cleopatra and her sister Arsinoe to flee Egypt. Their escape might have been a temporary truce, but their relationship remained strained. Cleopatra, ever suspicious and fiercely protective of her power, even suspected Arsinoe of plotting against her. Meanwhile, young Ptolemy XIII's reign wasn't exactly a model of stability. Being pharaoh at 11 comes with its challenges, and Ptolemy III, lacking the guidance of his father or the ambition of his sister, proved to be an inadequate ruler. This period of instability in Egypt would create the opportunity for Cleopatra's dramatic return and her rise to become one of history's most fascinating and controversial figures. Cleopatra's path to the throne wasn't exactly a walk in the Nile. Her advisors couldn't control her hot-headed brother, Ptolemy III. In a major blunder, he ordered the execution of the famous Roman general Pompey right in front of his family. This angered even Pompey's rival, Julius Caesar, who saw it as an insult to Rome. Caesar marched on Egypt's capital, and Ptolemy III, in a moment of panic, drowned in the Nile while trying to escape. Tradition dictated that Cleopatra marry her remaining brother, Ptolemy XIV. However, this was a sham marriage. He was much younger, and Cleopatra was already involved with Julius Caesar. They even had a son together. Seeing Caesar with no interest in making their son his heir, Cleopatra took ruthless action. She had Ptolemy XIV killed and positioned her son as co-ruler. This episode highlights Cleopatra's ambition and willingness to use any means necessary to secure her power, even if it meant eliminating her own family. Earlier, we discussed Plutarch's description of Cleopatra's presence as bewitching, and there's truth to that. But Cleopatra's allure wasn't just some mystical power. It was a carefully crafted strategy. She was a master manipulator who understood the art of persuasion, particularly when it came to men of influence. Cleopatra wasn't simply a beautiful face. She possessed a sharp wit and a keen intellect. Beyond physical seduction, she played a cunning game, catering to the desires and ambitions of the powerful men in her orbit. Figures like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, despite their own formidable reputations, fell under her sway. Cleopatra's approach transcended mere flirtation. It was a calculated dance of charm and strategy. Remember the story of her dramatic entrance to Caesar. She reportedly arrived rolled up in a carpet, a bold and unconventional move that piqued Caesar's curiosity and ignited his interest. With Antony, she took a more theatrical approach, appearing before him as the living embodiment of love itself, Venus, Aphrodite. This display of theatricality wasn't just about dazzling him, it was a subtle reminder of the power she sought to wield. This cleverness and strategic use of her charms secured her a position of influence in the hearts and minds of these men. They were so captivated that they were willing to bend the rules for her. Caesar caused a scandal by placing a statue of Cleopatra in a prestigious Roman temple right next to a statue of a goddess, a blatant disregard for Roman tradition that spoke volumes about his infatuation. Cleopatra's web of influence wasn't merely alluring. It was a powerful combination of intelligence, wit, and a shrewd understanding of human nature. Cleopatra's captivating presence wasn't just a stroke of luck, it was a carefully crafted tool. Her allure went far deeper than mere physical beauty. Cleopatra emerges as a mastermind manipulator, a woman who understood the art of persuasion, particularly when it came to men of influence. Beyond her stunning looks, Cleopatra possessed a sharp wit and a keen intellect. She wasn't simply playing the role of a beautiful seductress, she was a cunning player in a grand game of power. Cleopatra catered to the desires and ambitions of the powerful men in her orbit, figures like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Despite their own formidable reputations, these men fell under her sway. Cleopatra's approach transcended mere flirtation. It was a calculated dance of charm and strategy. Remember the story of her dramatic entrance to Caesar? She reportedly arrived rolled up in a carpet, a bold and unconventional move that piqued Caesar's curiosity and ignited his interest. With Antony, she took a more theatrical approach, appearing before him as the living embodiment of love itself, Venus, Aphrodite. This display of theatricality wasn't just about dazzling him, it was a subtle reminder of the power she sought to wield. This cleverness and strategic use of her charms secured her a position of influence in the hearts and minds of these men. They were so captivated that they were willing to bend the rules for her. Caesar caused a scandal by placing a statue of Cleopatra in a prestigious Roman temple right next to a statue of a goddess, a blatant disregard for Roman tradition that spoke volumes about his infatuation. Cleopatra's web of influence wasn't merely alluring, it was a powerful combination of intelligence, wit, and a shrewd understanding of human nature. However, Cleopatra's story isn't a simple fairy tale of a beautiful woman captivating powerful men. While her influence was undeniable, it wasn't always used for the greater good. Mark Antony, after being captivated by her Aphrodite entrance, completely forgot about his military campaign and chose to party with her in Alexandria. Their extravagant lifestyle, fueled by secret drinking clubs, stood in stark contrast to the turmoil of the Roman civil war. Stories even depict Cleopatra dissolving expensive jewelry in vinegar to win a bet with Antony, a reckless act that highlighted their focus on lavish living while Rome itself was in flames. Meanwhile, back in Rome, a war for power raged on, with Octavian, soon to be Augustus, eliminating any rivals to his claim on the throne. Here, Cleopatra's influence, while strong on individual men, ultimately proved detrimental. Her choices, fueled by personal desires, undermined the stability of Egypt. So the question remains, was Cleopatra just a beautiful temptress, or was there more to her? This episode of Time Capsule paints a picture of a complex woman, a master manipulator who used her intelligence and cunning to secure power. Her legacy extends beyond the realm of romance. It's a story of ambition, strategy, and the very real consequences of prioritizing personal gain amidst political upheaval. Cleopatra's beauty was undeniable, but it was her mind that was the true weapon in her arsenal. Thanks for watching the video, and if you found it informative, please like and subscribe to Time Capsule for similar content. We look forward to sharing more knowledge with you in the future. Until then, take care.